There's nothing perfect. It's government is
Marxism
an
is
ever
perfect.
evolving thing. It's never going to become perfect. As a society, we evolve, and in steps, we will take time to become better. We're not going
Free
to do it
stuff and just
correctly the first
really-
time. We're not going to do it the right time, the first correct time. We used to burn witches, dude.
No.
We used to shoot people
Too much
all the
faith in
time. We used to have wars
used
over
to
the
shoot
dumbest
people?
things.
You have too
We
much
are
faith in humanity.
we are
No.
it's I'm not saying it's in humanity, it's in evolution. Our brains and our empathy are going to get better, sir. That's how society works.
Bullshit. Evolution
I know
comes from...
your mentality is on a degrading
No,
level. That's
no.
because of the way
No, we had a perfect system before, and then
we don't
we
have a
ruined it with
perfect system.
capitalism.
We never have had a perfect system.
Marxism was a perfect system.
Marxism.
There's never ever
I
been a
really
perfect
like to
system.
choose the extreme option.
Talking about evolution, just evolution, those exact words you used. Evolution is derived from necessity of the climate around them. Humans, because they are naturally evil and selfish creatures,
That is incorrect.
even if you create,
That is incorrect.
I don't care what you falsely believe. Even if
Yeah,
you
what I falsely
create
believe.
a new version of government, all it takes is one corrupt leader, one person who's corrupt, and they will get to the top, because that's how corruption works. Is it
Yeah.
always
That
rises
is how
higher
corruption works.
and faster than someone doing it the easy way. That's why it's so easy to do it the hard way. And
That
then
is how
it
corruption
rots
works,
in
yes.
the inside out. People are going
The
to
one-
evolve, just like they have across the entire planet, to work with and in the system of corruption. The only places you
That's
don't,
incorrect.
and in North America, what we did,
Also incorrect.
because we wanted to say we're not corrupt, we legalized corruption and called it lobby groups. So it is 100% correct. You're
That is
the
not correct.
only person I know who doesn't understand this. The
That's
whole
okay.
world is corrupt and people are evil.
It's not. It's not. Because people are not evil or good. There's no such thing as being a good person or an evil person.
You want my
do
proof?
you do evil things
that's
and
that's
do
way too
good
black
things.
and white.
There's literally no good or evil people.
Did you know
Anyone
lie.
ever.
Hold on. Did you know that down in Brazil, I forget the town, it's like La Paz or no, not La Paz. There's a town in Brazil. Last year, the cops decided to go on strike.
Mhm.
They went on strike, and for about 7 days, like the best way I could describe it was literal purge. These
Okay.
are
Sounds about
random.
right.
These were random
Yeah.
people that just
Yeah.
went nuts. There were no cops. There are
Yeah.
videos of people,
Yep.
honest people,
Absolutely.
driving down the street,
Yep.
pulling out guns,
Absolutely.
and shooting other people.
100%.
I mean, you're also talking about a whole generation of people that have been like kept under the thumb, and
can't-
finally the regime has been turned
I'm talking
over.
about 4,000 years of generations, and pick your culture. I'm not even
If
kidding.
that shit happened here, it wouldn't be quite the same. You have exactly what's happening in the States right
It
now.
happened here
And you-
100 years ago with
you can't-
the Japanese. We basically forced them out of their homes, killed them if they didn't listen, and forced them to death camps.
Yeah.
And you're
I'm
judging the
sorry.
reaction of one group
No,
They're doing that.
based on another.
If they're doing that,
And
Australia
the-
parts are sick right now.
Yeah.
Not every person is going to react the same. Yes, there are going to be groups that are going to react innately selfishly because they're not aware how to act with responsibility and ownership. But then there are going to be people with have that intention of community, family, loyalty,
Problem
relationships
is they get
that are aware
drowned
of that.
out by the mob. With a mob,
Not when,
and a mob
not with a
mentality,
community. A community is
especially-
a family based on many
It's way
individuals.
easier.
That's
There's-
the positive
there's
version of a mob. A
tons-
mob is the evil version. A
tons-
community, a family, is a good version, sir.
There's
That's how what
tons
happens when society
of
comes
evidence.
together for benefit. It's
There's-
happened before.
There's tons of
There-
evidence that once you have 4 or more people making decisions on something, their ability to make rash and calculated decisions decreases dramatically. 3
Did you
or
know
2.
there's currently an
Shut
island
up.
society?
This actual science that supports what I'm saying. 3 or 2.
There's also a
are considered-
township in Nevada, middle of the desert, without laws. and they have only had like 2 murders this year.
It's not
And
Nevada.
how
It's
many people
California.
are
It's
there?
called Slab, and it is governed by
Yes.
federal.
I was gonna
Sorry.
say there's all. I want to hear what you're saying though before.
No, there's actual tons of studies that proves that if you have 2 or 3 people making decisions or helping you make ideas, it actually helps. There's tons of studies that showing that that thinking together, 2 heads is better than 1, is a real thing. But as soon as you add a 4th mind, as soon as you add too many minds beyond that, you then dilute the decision-making process, and it shows that it dramatically falls, and people become more susceptible to mob mentality and mob rage and mob feelings, and that's why you have bad decisions. That is why the Roman republics of over 15, 20 people, even 5 people always fell down. That's why the most powerful Roman republics were always triarchs. And that's why
because those societies again were based on failing government, just like this one.
all government is failing. There is no
Until we create a better one. That is my initial point.
That's what we've been trying. That's such a my initial interaction to that is it's such a hollow statement because if we had
I was going to
figured
say
out a better one, it would have been implemented.
We
somewhere.
haven't figured out one
they
yet.
were doing studies, but it only really works like it's technically communism is the best system, but
Right
it only
now,
works in small
there's-
groups.
What?
There's different
You mean
options.
something I said
There
was
isn't.
correct?
There isn't a better one.
Communism
right now. There's a
isn't
lot
the
of-
same as Marxism.
Yes, that's also true.
Marxism is the better version of communism.
But there are
No,
options right now
Marxism
that
is
are
where you have
working.
people in power. And
And
things
I'm
go
not
well.
disagreeing with that. Communism works in Russia. You know, democracy works here
No,
in Canada.
communism
doesn't-
absolutely
Communism works
no,
in Russia?
no,
I
it
don't
does
know.
not. No.
I'm just saying shit because I'm not paying attention, honestly. But
Uh,
at the end of the day, there's
not?
different form of governments that are either working and not working, but they're not perfect. We have to make
Socialism
one
is
that
good,
will
too.
eventually slowly evolve that way. There's never going to be one that's perfect because humanity isn't perfect. We all make fucking mistakes until we figure out how to get better. We're never gonna have a government that's perfect until we figure out that step. It's always an ever moving forward race of evolution.
So
It's
I
never
have
going
a
to be
question,
ended. It's never
though.
going to be perfect.
I have a question for you. Do you think that there is a perfect form of government that we can reach?
No,
Okay.
So then it's
I would agree with
fruitless
that.
in Denver.
There's-
It's a
there's
fruitless
it's not
endeavor.
fruitless. It is not fruitless. It is a responsibility as people who are trying to act through good actions and beliefs to maintain that. That's what police do and have
Well,
laws.
that's our issue. Is ultimate power corrupts ultimately, and ultimate power, like
That's because there's the people believe there's an end to the race, but there isn't.
that's why a government doesn't work because all the power ends up funneling to one person who makes all the decisions, and then that one person ends up usually going bad with their decisions and
that never works. either.
falls away. That's why government usually fails.
And there's people protesting cops all across North America.
Yeah. And there are good
in
police
Europe.
and there are bad police. And I'm all for in the states of defunding. I've been okay. I've all for Black Lives Matters. I'm 100% for making cops right now in a better state because currently they're not in a good state. But there are police that are good. There are police that are bad. There's humans that make mistakes because we aren't
Problem
perfect.
is when someone does something bad or when someone takes a bad action, especially when it comes to higher levels of control when government, they instead usually rise higher. And usually because of the way
right.
and not because everyone around them's corrupt, it's the Foursquare mentality, right? If you decide to share with the other person, you both get half. If the person decides to share and you decide to take, they get nothing and you get all of it. And that is the reason why it's the first thing ever taught in politics is that analogy, because you have to learn with your opponents and other people around you. Are they going to share or are they going to take?
See, and I understand that, and you're completely agree, and you're not wrong. And that comes with the level of honestly of education of growing up, of believing that there are people that other people are your opponents. We're living on the same planet.
But
As much as there are people that are here to hurt you and are going to do things that are not for your best interest or the public's best interest, that doesn't mean we're all living on the same place to kill each other. We all have to exist here.
But it's
We all have to live on the same planet and use the resources that are here.
it's
What about the people who live on a flat Earth?
There is no opponents here. Even people who are who believe we are on a flat Earth. It takes education, which we are not receiving properly, at a level that starts at children's age. We're not learning these things now. And politics, who are at the level of adults, are not going to learn these things.
But talking about your
What
draw
things?
to evolution, you evolve in this. You evolve to adapt to the space around you, so you survive.
Yes.
It all comes down to survival.
Absolutely.
And that's the same with.
But that also comes with advancement. When we get more advanced technologies, we have to evolve to the tools that we have access to. We're not working with stones and sticks anymore, man. We have cars. We have the ability to go to space. We have all these other things. We have to advance with our minds and our society in the way that we have technology and tools to do the same thing.
The problem is you can have everyone, you can have 99.9% of the world on board with that. But that 0.1
There's always going to be that. There's always going to be that.
will be the
You're
ones
never
that
going to get away
control the planet. Because that
I disagree.
0.1%, it's what's happened right now.
That's what's happening right now.
You're reality of life.
You're right. You're right. It's
I'm
happening
sorry,
right now
like, that's
because,
what I-
again, our education and all these systems have started. We haven't had the ability to evolve in the situation that I'm talking about. So we're not going to have the results that I'm explaining because that situation hasn't been made yet.
So then, okay. So then how do you get there? Because
It starts with education.
Okay, but what's
It starts-
specifically about education?
yeah.
It
What do you want
starts
people
with,
to be
with teaching
educated
people.
about?
It starts with teaching people empathy, loyalty,
Yeah.
Family, tradition.
They already teach
You
that
know,
in schools.
They don't.
No, they don't.
They don't. I can tell you somebody who grew up with that and had a lot of loss of that. That no, they don't. They'd like to think they do, but they don't. They write it down on paper and make you take a test about it, but they don't teach it. There's a difference. There's a very fine difference, and I'm sure Sarah understands of how it means to teach people than explain them, just giving them paper and saying, here, write an answer and recite the relearned garbage I've just given to you. It's not
So-
learning.
Here's the problem, though. How do you teach that?
And that comes with teach. I'm not a teacher, and I want to figure out a way for that
now
to happen.
you're putting the onus on someone who doesn't know fuck all more than you.
I'm not putting the onus. I'm not putting the onus.
You
I'm
just said
accepting.
you're not a
I'm
teacher.
accepting the responsibility of not having the knowledge while accepting the fact that I'm willing to learn to discuss the ability of how to make that possibility. I am not putting that onus on somebody else. I'm willing to accept responsibility and learn to do that myself, regardless if I need somebody else's help or not. But I will ask other people for help because I can't do it myself. No one can do it by themselves. We all need help. We are all here together, working on the same planet.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that agree with you, but the reality is
You're not wrong. I'm not disagreeing here. The reality is true. What you're saying, you're right. 100% true. The situation as it is isn't working, and it's corrupt and it's fucked up. Yes.
And I love this kind of talk because, like, I love to hear what you think the world can be. But the one thing I always come down to discussions like this is, okay, so now let's go back to what reality is that I keep painting. If you were, how do you change? I'm telling you that it's almost impossible, but it doesn't mean that it is. Like, how do you?
Nothing's impossible. I can tell you that right now.
So how do you
And
go about?
It starts from the ground up, and it starts from where you start as a child, from where you're born to where you learn to where you then get a job and learn the fundamental skills of living, to then figuring out how to have a community, a family, grow your own family and your own community. And communities don't have to be a big mob of people. Communities can be small groups of bands and tribes that work as an interdimensional group of councils. It doesn't have to be a bunch of everyone having the same voice. It can be people representing us.
I expect the way
Yeah, it sounds like
I'm now we have verses that people every day have all. I don't want to say something that was, and these are people that are that they're really experienced to grow and to learn to evolve whatever it is, and for us to be able to learn with them on that level.
Okay.
So we can finish the podcast and then do the elusive tavern tales. Oh no, are we back?
I feel like it's going to go up and down through the night if we
Yeah.
are
Yeah, so I don't think there's a point in doing that.
the tales
I
tonight.
feel like
Oh,
your
we
message
are
We
back.
want,
has
unless we
been
want,
made
unless we
to
want to just
tomorrow.
we can
Well,
also,
I'm going to be garbly too. Like I said,
We
my
can-
internet's been shit tonight.
I was going to say we could
Oh, yeah.
record it, but yeah, that's
I
true.
actually haven't heard
Oh my
you
God.
sounding bad though,
No.
Jeremy.
To anyone
I've
who
seen.
just-
I tried to play. I tried
Hold
to
on.
play World of Warcraft earlier, and it literally dropped me like 3 times.
just so everyone, all our viewers out there, to our 8 viewers out there, the internet apparently across our city. I just got a message from my internet provider. Apparently, they're doing maintenance because internet's down. That's why it's getting choppy. So we're gonna try and close out the podcast because we're almost there, and then we're gonna miss the Tavern Tales tonight, and then hopefully
But we might record it and see it. We'll see. We're,
we could
Would
probably
be
do it
unfortunate.
Friday night. Anyway,
like,
we have. Let's finish this discussion because I want to touch on.
I and like I said, honestly, at the end of for much clarity of discussion, I do 100% agree on the point that you're making. The current situation is what it is. The system's not good, and in the situation that it is, it's unlikely for it to produce the outcome that I'm speaking of unless drastic changes to come. And who knows what that happens.
Revolution. I mean, it's what Rousseau said. Rousseau and Voltaire. The only way you can truly do systemic, true change to a system from the ground up, as horrible as it is you have to uproot it. You have to literally uproot it and turn it on its head.
I don't disagree on that, but I think what would that look like in today's day and age?
Honestly, what I keep waiting for. I keep waiting for the day that
I think a lot of people are waiting for the collapse of what they think is perceived to happen.
But that's the problem. Is so many people are waiting. So many people are like me, and
It's
not
gonna because people are wanting that to happen. It's gonna happen.
No one
I swear.
wants to be the first mover. No one wants
Nobody
to be
does.
the one that casts the first stone. And
That's always how it goes.
But I'm waiting. I'm waiting for that final rolled rock to start rolling. I mean, I'm still a full belief that by the time I'm 40, which I will not say my age, I don't think I've ever said my age, so we're just gonna leave it there. Or that by the time I'm 40, that there should be. I know COVID was a big thing. I was waiting for something. I think
I feel like it's gonna be bigger.
COVID was the ultimate first world
wake up.
Not wake up. I was gonna say first world catastrophe. Literally. Are you kidding me?
Please.
Think about it. Everyone got to sit home. So many people got off work. They got paid.
I guess, but not everyone around the world had that same experience, though.
Yeah, but
I do agree. If it would happen to everyone, I would 100% agree.
That's why I said it was the first world staycation.
It was pretty close.
Yeah.
It was pretty close.
It was the most first world thing that could happen.
I guess you're.
Oh my
God,
guess I'm so sad. All I get to do is stay at home all day and eat chips and watch Netflix. Oh my God, Tiger King.
Yeah. Okay.
I still haven't seen Tiger King.
It did coalesce a lot of voices. I've noticed that there's a lot more. I would say like Twitter gangs now. That's COVID has produced like a lot more people.
That's what I mean, man. There's going to be these communities, these small stupid communities.
So toxic.
They're going to start out toxic. That's how the internet started out.
They're so toxic.
The loudest voice gets heard. The loudest voice gets heard first, and then it gets better.
Toxic ones are toxic because all the non-toxic people pile on you for being toxic.
It's misery loves company. No,
are you trying to tell me that the internet has gotten better over time? It hasn't.
And I mean,
it actually has. I've noticed that people online used to be a lot more like were like internet bullies literally all the time. Where now now I see people who actually like say supportive things to you actively. Well, they're like, I hope you have a great day, or like you'll see people who like just random like game chat messages where people are like, so sorry bro, you're having a tough time, and just they're not everyone, but it's more, you see it more often. It's not something that's going to happen right away.
What about the fact that maybe the toxicity has changed? Because I can tell you, working with teenagers, the internet is incredibly toxic to them, not necessarily in the sense of the people they're talking to, but in the goals of like the internet itself, in that it's constantly trying to sell them things. Everything is made to be addictive specifically for them.
That's a cap. I don't think that's an internet specific thing, but I do think that comes from the internet.
A lot of it is an internet specific thing.
We started doing
but that came from TV too, Sarah. That came from, we used to grow up with commercials of that used to sell with girls unrealistic versions of what it used to look like to be an adult, right? You used to see pictures on the walls of girls with really skinny waists and things. That's not how women are supposed to look. Like, you're not supposed to be anorexic. You still do, right? And that's the problem. And you see it on the internet. It's not something that's the internet's fault. It is an issue with the internet.
Yes,
I will. It's any media source, right?
The bigger problem that I think of with it is the addictiveness. TV certainly has an addictiveness to it, but the internet takes it to a whole nother level.
And having it in your hand nowadays doesn't help.
Yeah, like things like TikTok are so addictive, and they are so bad for these kids. These kids will spend hours scrolling through nothing on their phones, and they don't even realize it because it is made to be that way. So
you're absolutely right.
I totally.
You're right. It was absolutely made to be that way. It's honestly, it's a flashing casino game in your hand. Of course it's made to be addicting. That's what it's for.
It is.
You know. So I'm not it comes with being an intelligent parent and knowing to teach your children responsibility with these things. Like when you were a kid, I got a cell phone and got told not to use it for emergencies. Obviously I didn't, but at the same time it made me understand I shouldn't use my phone all the time for frivolous things, because when I did, my dad would get pissed at me and be like, you're spending money, or you're talking to people you shouldn't, or he would check up on these things because it's important as a parent. Not every parent did that. I could see that by John's face. He had probably hands-off parents.
Did he know how to just delete call list?
Are you really going to tell me a kid that was like...
You are the same age as me. And I can tell you the experience that teenagers have now with the internet and with phones is completely different than the one we did.
It is.
Completely. It is the most important part of their lives. They cannot function without it.
Yeah. I grew up as that.
But that also grew up with a lot. That comes also kind of with parents, because kids kind of mimic their parents, and a lot of parents also have fallen into this trap where they're sitting there on their phones all the time, and they're not sitting there with their kids reading to them with a book, even if it is from a book. They're not sitting there reading an audiobook, or they're not sitting there with having quality time, watching a movie with them, playing a game with them. It's like when you were a kid and your parents give you toys or give you a show or a game to keep you occupied, instead of being hands-on with your children and actually teaching them and being part of a family, and having a relationship with your kids, instead of just being their parents and having that title of your kids always being your children. When you grow up, your parents should be your friends. They shouldn't be people that you despise or have all this therapy problems for, and it comes up with, not everyone has the perfect family, and you're always your family's always going to be the hardest fight. I'm going to be honest, because I deal with my family problems too. But with parents, you shouldn't be that. It is. It always is. It always is.
When you say your parents should be your friends shouldn't be your friends. They should be someone that
when you get older,
love and get along well with. But a parent can't be their friend to their child in every circumstance.
No, not in every circumstance, but I think when you're 30 and your parents are 80, you're kind of past the, hey, you need to wear a sweater, and at the same time, your mom's always going to be your mom, so she's never going to stop doing that. But at the same time, they grow past trying to teach you how to live because you're an adult and you have children now. So you sit there and you sit there and talk to them like a friend would. I talk to my mom the way I talk to you guys.
Yeah. And
it's
so
do I.
It's
not much of a difference.
I can't say that I did when I was 13.
Exactly, right? When you grow up, your parents become your friends. Not when you're younger, obviously. They're your parents. They're teaching you how to...
Exactly.
It took me a while to learn to talk to my parents like an adult, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
It does. I think that comes with making that relationship. That being said, talk show's over. We love you all. Minions.
And we out
somewhere else. We go somewhere else.
Where's the mic drop? That I guess, okay, fine, yeah. that's the show. I'm sorry for
Oh,
the
wow.
live viewers
That's
if it was uninterrupted. I'm really sorry for that. Apparently, it's my Shaw, and it's deciding to be a bastard.
why you don't want to use Shaw.
If you want to catch the elusive Tavern Tales,
provided.
we'll probably do it Friday. Friday sounds like a good day for everybody, right?
Or if
I'm
check it out on
I'm busy Friday.
we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Yes, if not, check it out. Check it out on YouTube.
Otherwise, Sunday is the next two shot. I think we're ending Insanieac.
We're ending mine.
And next Wednesday for blah 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 for previous episodes on the Twitch. You can check out our podcast. We're on Google Play, Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We're everywhere you want to look for us.
All the streaming podcasts. Check for the social medias.
Thanks again to our Patreon, our literally only Patreon for the wheel.
Our first million.
If you want to support the show, follow the channel, subscribe to YouTube. If you want to join,
whatever you can do helps. You don't have to join the Patreon, but if you want to, that you're hugely appreciated, and we will shout you out every time because we love you.
And if you want to join the show, come on and talk. Or if you want to join the two shots, hey, just talk and chat. Let us know.
Yeah, we love you all.
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't have anything else to do.
We are good.
We're so happy you did it. We're so happy you did it here.
Am I so incoherent with that?
Yes, I figured as much. That's kind of why I took a bit of the wheels on the first there at the beginning. I saw your wheel a little bit.
Things aren't working because this is the one time that I can actually. I could have actually done the Tavern Tales.
Well, that's where I was saying for the tales. We could just record the tales for this one.
That is true too, or we could just do it tomorrow.
Bye.
That's up. I also have to
get up on Friday. I don't have to get up tomorrow.
I do work.
You don't have to get up.
I actually really do.